Ladies and gentlemen, it's over. You're watching the Investing Bros. I'm T. Shroom, and your opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin at a reasonable price is over. Accumulation phase, according to Plan B's X account, has ended. It's over. No more easy buying opportunities in orderly and slowly increasing markets. So in addition to the buying opportunities, the easy money, the easy buy lows for the future easy sell highs, that phase is over. And not only that, but the volatility is coming in. What we've been seeing is a tepid market compared to what historically Bitcoin has seen in the whipsaw of the bull market to come. The bull market has started, declareth the Plan B. If history is any guide, we will see 10 months of face-melting FOMO, extreme price pumps combined with multiple 30% drops. Enjoy. And dare I say 40% drops. So it could be both. Now let's take a look here at this chart. This is the chart on the thumbnail. This is the chart marking the end. It is over. This is the end of the blue accumulation phase for Bitcoin. It's over. So does that mean you should stop buying? Well, that's going to be kind of the question that we're trying to answer here. As you can see, we've got our first red dot into the bull market of 2024. Now, we're not at the halving yet. It'll be interesting to see how the halving affects this. In my estimation, this is a right-on schedule bull market. It feels very early compared to the halving, but if you look, you see approximately the quantity of time here. It's about what we've seen on average. And you can see back here, it was a much shorter accumulation period. But the important thing is that it's over. Investing Bros, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're joining for the very first time, I'm T. Shroom, and I'm super honored that you would even take your time, take your morning to listen in. Whether you're on your commute, whether you're on the treadmill, whether you're taking the kids to school, or whether you're just like gaming in the afternoon because you live in Japan or whatever. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to bring everybody the best crypto news here at the 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time slot. We're going to get into it today. We've got some pretty crazy stories, but let's go ahead and jump over to the Bitcoin charts, the charts we are so familiar with. And as you can see, Bitcoin on the 4-hour is attempting to make another high. It's got a correction off of a level here. This level was 60,099. So 60,099 is where we got candle body closes on the 4-hour. This also happens to be where the candle body here that had an extremely high test and test lower and higher, where this candlestick settled is where we found support. Some interesting confluence, may even just be a coincidence. Not super significant there. What I am seeing is that this did not come back and down and touch the midline of the Bollinger Band, right? Which for me is important, but we're in a bull market, and we're in a bull market of magnificent proportion. Let's go out to the daily, and we will find that there's not much more to pull out there. Let's briefly go down to the 1-hour and see what we can't pull out here. So on the 1-hour, we are all getting back up into the hug zone with the upper band of the Bollinger Band, the upper band there. And what does that mean? Back in the overbought territory, right? We did get back into overbought territory on the 1-hour according to the ALGO oscillator matrix, right? So since yesterday, that free day we got in February 29th, basically since about, it looks like, let's see when it dropped off, the oscillator started to go bearish around 10, so 10 a.m. on the 29th, and then recovered around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 29th before making this resumption back into overbought territory. Now, we are getting, on the hourly, we are getting a small reversal dot. I'm not super convinced by that. I would need to see more. Especially because this oscillator, the hyperwave here, has actually exceeded these highs from back here, right? It did not get clapped by the same resistance. Now it could get clapped here at the 80 line. That is very possible before it actually gets into extreme overbought, right? But right now it's just generally overbought. That's how you would describe it based on this ALGO oscillator matrix. Now you're probably thinking, but T-Shroom, I've tried to get Lux ALGO before so that I can see the reversal waves, so that I can see the oscillators, but it's been tough. Well, it's because it's not free. You got to pay for these indicators here. And you can actually get a discount when you sign up with our discount link. Go ahead and find that Lux ALGO link in the description of this very video, and you'll be able to see that very link. Let's go ahead and check out here Ethereum. Ethereum is a little bit more bullish, up almost 3% this morning, while Bitcoin is essentially flat. Taking a look here, you can see Ethereum on the 1 hour getting back into that same, hugging that upper band of the Bollinger Band zone. Oscillator, pretty much the same story. Pretty much the same story. Money flow moving positive, I think much more aggressively though. Let me go back, check that on the 1 hour. Yep. So that's the difference here, is the money flow here for Bitcoin not moving in the bullish direction. Whether it's red or green is significant, but for this analysis, it's just important. Let me just over illustrate it here for you. This line, this red line, is pointing down still for Bitcoin, right, on the 1 hour. Which, this is really only relevant to like traders or just people trading right now on this time frame, right? But I'm just, pointing something out. Hopefully, maybe you learned something here about money flow. Versus Ethereum here, you can see that the angle, right, of the most recent action is pointing up, bullish, right? So there you go. T-Shroom. Follow us here on the Investing Bros. You're going to get alpha. You're going to get nuggets of how to read charts better, and you're going to get recommendations of products that will accelerate your profitability in the trading world. Lux ALGO is chief among them that we recommend. Thank you so much for going ahead and checking out Lux ALGO through the link in our description. Now, it was brought to our attention yesterday, the 3 p.m. show. Tim and I absolutely love bringing to you all. I'm sure if you're watching me for the first time at 9 a.m., we'll see you at 3 today. Later on, I'm actually going to be having Caleb Franz on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yesterday, we got an interesting shout out in the chat. Someone reminded us of this topping indicator. And this is really important to realize. It puts into context just how bullish this is going to get and just how early it is in the cycle. So there's a topping indicator that is essentially 100% owned by Apple, so it could be easily manipulated, I suppose. But it is the Apple Store, the Apple App Store, not the one you walk into and feel like a hipster and buy some overly priced device that everyone else has, including me. But it's the Apple App Store, the one online, the one on your phone, where you go download YouTube and you subscribe to the Investing Bros. Yeah, that's the one. So if we go over there to this website, you can see that there's all kinds of apps that are trending. Right now, the top trending app, the top ranked, this is a top charts, is Temu, which is, I don't know, it's like some kind of Japanese or Chinese or some other company that is competing with Amazon and eBay, essentially, right, for e-commerce hub. And then you got Microsoft Authenticator, and then all of the other ones, right? So what's important here is you don't see Coinbase in the top 10. When Coinbase is in the top 10 downloaded apps, that means they're retail. You and me are going out retail as opposed to institutions, the banks. We are retail, humans on the ground, people that sit behind a computer at their house or in their personal office or wherever and trade. That's retail. Investment, institutional is the other one. There's other gradations of investors, obviously, but retail versus institutional. Institutional, you're sitting in a bank. You're trading on behalf of a bank. You're trading on behalf of your clients, right? That's institutional. Okay. So when Coinbase gets into the top 10, that's when retail is at an all-time high. Retail purchasing, retail volume coming into Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin is at an all-time high. So not only, we don't even need to really scroll in this list because I've already looked at it this morning. Not only is Coinbase not on here at all, it's not even in the top 100. Yesterday, it was literally 100. And we covered it live on the 3 p.m. show, and it was a lot of fun. But that's just an interesting little indicator for you all to help illustrate the fact that we're still super early in this cycle. The fact that people are thinking about taking profits on spot Bitcoin, to me, is baffling and kind of shows your level of experience in the space. I divulged yesterday, I was beginning to consider selling some of my Bitcoin mining stock, but I'm not going to, right? I illustrated it like this. I said, I'm not ready to pull the trigger on the sell button for those. In fact, the gun is not even out of the case. I haven't even put the combination code in to unlock the case for the gun to pull the trigger on selling my Bitcoin miners, and certainly not my Bitcoin, right? So that's how early we are in the cycle. The Coinbase app on the App Store, topping indicator is nowhere near where it needs to be in the top 10 apps. Okay. Now, is that the most reliable indicator in the world? Should you bet the farm on that indicator? Absolutely not. Right. But it's a fun one. It's cool. Gives us a chance to talk about apps, which who doesn't love a good app, right? All right, let's get into some of these stories here. Before we do, though, let's see if there's any high flyers this morning. I don't think that there really was too many. Let's see. Okay. Oh, AGIX back up. Nice. So it looks like this makes sense. So the AI, we're going to get to why I think this might be. There's an AI rotation, I think, out of WorldCoin into FET and AGIX because of a story that I'll get to in just a second. Pepe got some meme coins popping off as well, and then Chili's and Tau, right? So, and the graph behind me, you can't see it, but it's up 12.8% this morning, looking pretty good. Uniswap with the up 5%, so that's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and jump into the stories here. We're going to start with that WorldCoin story. So WorldCoin, WLD drops as Elon Musk sues OpenAI. Okay. And I've got the filing here, so you can see all the organizations that make up OpenAI, including Sam Altman, who's the founder. Now, what is being alleged here? Why they're being brought to trial, or why they're being sued, I should say, is a complaint for breach of contract, promissory estoppel. I like that. Breach of fiduciary duty, unfair competition under California Business and Provided Code. So that is going to be, where Elon is coming from. That's his angle on this suit. See if I can get a little bit more context here for you. So essentially the premise here is that Elon Musk, when he initially invested with Sam Altman's company, OpenAI, he was operating under the premise that it would be a nonprofit company. Fast forward to the acquisition of Microsoft, buying OpenAI, and clearly Elon Musk's expectations as an investor were not met. Is the court going to grant punitive damages from that? Maybe. From that break in expectation, maybe. But that is a big story, and WorldCoin does seem to be suffering from that, although I have not put eyes on the chart for WorldCoin. Let's do that really quickly. It's really not down too much, to be honest with you. So maybe it's not a rotation into AI. Maybe it's just generally that AI is in the headlines. Yeah, because WorldCoin, let's see what kind of time frame we're on. The daily chart. Yeah, this is not. So WorldCoin not dumping as a result of this at all. WorldCoin not dumping as a result. In fact, it's kind of keeping its bid. It's keeping its levels just above. What is this? $7.30. So WorldCoin kind of holding steady in face of those allegations. Now you might be like, WorldCoin, what does that have to do with OpenAI? Great question. Sam Altman is the founder of both entities. So it's kind of like an Elon Musk situation where, Tesla stock might go down if there's something negative or positive about Twitter. Don't try to think about that too much. It's not the greatest comparison, but if you know, you know. So that's that story. Is that going to affect your crypto portfolio? Well, if you hold WorldCoin, honestly, it might later on. There's a possibility, especially if the court does not throw this case out immediately, and especially if they seek punitive damages. I think that may end up affecting WorldCoin. Because it's not the same company as OpenAI. So that's why I give it a strong may, perhaps. So yeah, not going to affect your portfolio too much, but that is going to be a big story. One of the biggest names from 2023 was ChatGPT, right? And that's what we're talking about. In case you weren't tracking that, ChatGPT is a product under OpenAI, which is now under Microsoft Corporation, which is the only stock that I own. Microsoft, outside of the mining stocks. Microsoft is just, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what I say when it comes to Microsoft. All right. So overall here, guys, I'm not thinking. Oh, my dogs are chiming in here. Can you hear them in the background? You probably can. Anyway, ultimately, guys, I don't think this is going to affect your portfolio too much, but it is going to be a huge story, probably for the next half of 2 days, and then you won't hear about it until the court dates are set, and then you'll hear about it, especially when the verdict is reached, if they don't throw the case out. All right, so let's get into the next story, guys. We got some bullish stuff here, but it is over. Don't make any mistake. Just because my tone has shifted, just because we're moving on, it doesn't mean that what Plan B is pointing out isn't true. And we're going to get to what you can do about it, but make no mistake, the accumulation phase is over. That is a thesis for today's show. Retiring CEO of giant asset manager Vanguard, as opposed to BlackRock. Vanguard is kind of the other bullfrog, right, on the pond that BlackRock is kind of the king of, right? And that would be the wealth management banks, okay, which BlackRock is the largest AUM. Vanguard, I believe, is number 2. Okay, so retiring CEO of giant asset manager Vanguard shunned Bitcoin ETFs. Will his replacement? So this is going to be the conversation. This is going to be the conversation for the next week, right? Because what has steered the price of Bitcoin and the sentiment in the crypto space has been grayscale, right? Grayscale leading up to the Bitcoin ETF approval by the SEC was basically not even really that important. People were interested in it because it was going to flip from a trust into an ETF, and that's cool. But they were not thinking that it was going to have the sell the news effect on Bitcoin spot that it did, because of that weird fee that caused a bunch of people to leave, and some people didn't leave. So this is going to be, in my opinion, kind of the new prevailing by half. But it is, I think it's significant as the GBTC narrative and economic force by half. But I think that the GBTC narrative has pretty much been resolved. There's still net outflows from last time I've checked, but those outflows are negligible compared to how the other 9 are gobbling up the Bitcoin ETF. Are selling it, I guess, from their perspective, selling it aggressively to their clients, right? So Vanguard, though, historically has not done that. They have shielded their clients, saying, "Hey, this product, GBTC or IBIT or any of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, these are actually not what we want our clients to buy." And that is obviously a bunch of bull crap from my perspective, right? But the guy, who started the company, his principles were that they only want to expose their investors to investments that spin off revenue, which you can't blame them. Look, Vanguard has made a lot of people very wealthy, and a lot of wealthy people filthy wealthy, filthy rich, right? And that's fine. So like, they're not losing. They're not like crazy by any means. And they're also not diametrically opposed to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin just happens to fall into a category of not spinning off revenue. Think Ethereum does spin off revenue because you can stake it and you can get X percentage annually. That's the kind of investment that Vanguard likes to make, which could be kind of some interesting foreshadowing to how much more aggressively they might buy Ethereum. But ultimately here, the headline that matters here is that the head is... Nah, I'm not going to say that. No heads have rolled. Nobody got fired. He resigned. Right, the CEO of the giant asset manager Vanguard has resigned. So the question, will his replacement think the same way about Bitcoin ETFs? Probably not, right? But we have to see who that replacement is. That replacement is going to be very, very important. Right now, I think that they have like an interim CEO who is the president. So whether or not that president is going to have much of... I doubt that they're going to ordain Bitcoin or not ordain Bitcoin with an interim CEO. So that'll be a big story. Right now, it's just kind of like that'll be a big time to pay attention. That'll probably boost markets to the upside. If they get another guy in there who's just as diametrically opposed to Bitcoin as Tim Buckley was, the former CEO who's resigning today, then that might be bearish, but probably more neutral. Maybe a sell off on the day, and then neutral if it is another anti-Bitcoin guy. And again, I say anti-Bitcoin, they're really more anti just like the concept of gold, like something that appreciates, yes, but does not spin off revenue. So hopefully I've beaten that dead horse. Bros, let's check in on the chat. Let's see what's going on. Zachary Martin is in the chat. So this is the gentleman who brought to our attention, again, it's not like we didn't know about it, but reminded us about the Coinbase in the top 10 Apple App Store topping indicator for the Bitcoin market. And he's here again. He's back. Zachary Martin, member of NVIDIA Inception Accelerator Program, got a specialized grant from Polygon. Very cool. Yes, Polygon's M&A department has been very active recently. Something's going on. They're wanting to deploy some capital. They're wanting to get noticed. Perhaps. I like that. I like that. This brings me to something that I wanted to talk about that I didn't really have an article for. This is DC. What am I buying? Right? What am I DCing to? Matic is like very tempting, but Cardano really is the one that I'm DCing it to. Just give you the quick dirty answer. Right? Why? Because of the monthly candlestick Bollinger Band analysis that I do a lot. Never seen it. You got to make sure you tune in to the 9 a.m. stream more often. I certainly will be doing my monthly Bollinger Band analysis. But Cardano's the answer. Let's go ahead and see if we got more chats over here. Nancy Croy said good morning. Nancy Croy, the first chat of 2020. What? Put the number in chat. What year was Nancy Croy the first chatter? What year was that? Zachary Martin went up 191% overnight, AGIX. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that it shot up that much. That's incredible. What do you think about some project? I don't know about it, so I can't think much about it. Sorry, Kartik Pillai. Thank you for tuning in, but I don't know anything about that project. Dustin Singer said, TradingView puts a Doge dance on your chart when you click the Doge chart. It does. It does. Let's see if I can go ahead and throw that animation for you guys, because it is kind of charming. Let's see. My guess is that it probably won't work, but sometimes it does. If it doesn't work on Doge, sometimes it'll work on Tesla. Some programmers over at TradingView had a laugh. They had an idea, and their boss let them implement it. Don't see it. Nope, not going to work. Okay, well, but it does work sometimes. I've definitely seen it. Eric Wallen. Eric Wallen's not crazy. Eric Wallen. It was Dustin Singer that said that. Might be Dustin. Let's keep moving on here. Fred M. Feder said Valkyrie Bitcoin miner ETF. That's not one that I'm... That's interesting. That's not one that I'm tracking too much. What is that? I don't know if it's bearish or bullish. I'm assuming it's bearish because all my miners today are down. Marathon leading lower, down 16. Well, the market's not open yet, so... but it does look like in the pre-market they are down, the miners. So I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there, Fred M. Feder, but it looks like you're doing some research on the Bitcoin miners. I'd say buy the dips. It's not rocket science to me. Buy the dips. They are printing Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is getting better every day. Coinbase was one last time we hit all-time high. So if it hits top 5, sell. Okay. So a little bit of a correction to Zachary Martin, trying to lead us astray. Just kidding, Zach. Just kidding. I don't know what it is. It's probably not anything that someone has actually written down and quantified. But we are getting a correction here from DPG 604 saying that Coinbase has to be in the top 5 in order for them to sell, at least, in order for DPG to sell. So, I mean, you pick your poison, folks. This isn't like it's not cut and dry. It's not like the 200-day moving average for the S&P where everybody's going to trade on it, right? It's somewhat secret. It's somewhat something that only folks who've been in multiple Bitcoin cycles know about, perhaps. But you're hearing about it here first. Perhaps. Probably not. Okay, Clout Casino said Bitcoin mining stocks tend to trail 1 to 2 weeks behind Bitcoin depending on the specific mining stock. Okay. That's good alpha. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but that's probably more accurate when there's like less volatility, is my guess. Because I think from my experience, this divergence between the mining stock prices and Bitcoin spot prices is actually uncharacteristic, and this is the exception, not the rule, for that divergence. But it sounds like Clout Casino saying something along the same lines there. So Billy Goat Tails said Temu also competing with Shen, both Chinese and competing with Amazon. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a Flipkart in India that's really, really big. There's all kinds of e-commerce all over the world. Throw a 1 in chat if you've ever bought anything on Flipkart. I've never, ever done that or had any ads for Flipkart. Probably because I can't use it here in the United States. But it's also probably because Amazon is so dominant and they outbid on the search terms. GS said, great. I'm looking forward to the ADA video. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want me to make an ADA video on why I'm only DCing ADA? Gia, this is the video. Tim and I look. Tim puts out his pre-produced videos, and he does a really, really good job. The thing is that those, like, they're not easy to make if you can't do a one take. And Tim is like the king of one takes. So I'm sure Tim will be putting out an ADA video here pretty soon, Gia. But as of now, I don't plan on putting out like individual videos on individual things. What I like to do is sprinkle in all of my thoughts and my non-financial advice, my awesome advice here on the live stream. So if you want T-Shroom's take, you got to tune in 9 a.m. I'm not going to be putting out videos on things more than likely. That might change, but just given the dynamics and the mechanics of my life, that's going to be the way it goes. Puddles dropped a 1 in chat indicating that Puddles, he, she, they, he looks like a crazy little guy. I like that little profile picture you got. Has bought things on Flipkart. So, interesting. Crux of Crypto in the chat said, thanks, Mellow Fellow. They will only get better once a week. Let's get back into the news here, guys. So far, it's been real bullish, right? Vanguard CEO stepping down. That's freaking huge, honestly. That could be really big because it was like there's two forces on Wall Street, it seemed. Well, three. You had BlackRock, which is like obviously pro-Bitcoin, or at least pro making fees off of selling Bitcoin. And then you have Vanguard, which was like the opposite. It was like, nah. And then you had JP Morgan that was somewhere in the middle, like aggressively buying Bitcoin, underwriting the BlackRock spot ETFs, but the CEO, Jamie Dimon, coming out and saying that Bitcoin is terrible and horrible. So it's somewhere in between. The fact that Vanguard is now entering a phase where it could flip, right? And it already was starting to thaw. It was already saying, Vanguard was already kind of issuing statements that they were going to eventually allow Bitcoin exposure to their clients. So it was already thawing. Now this is probably going to accelerate that thaw. It's a good way to think about it. So let's keep moving here. We've entered the bull market officially, according to the Bitcoin market cycle, according to Plan B, and we have left the accumulation cycle. So if you've got a bunch of buddies, right, who are like on the precipice of buying Bitcoin, now is the time to orange pill, right? Because the door is basically closed, but it's like kind of open. Like on every Disney movie, there's like a door that's just about to close, and then the main character slides through, and then their hat's still on the other side, and they reach through and grab their hat just before it closes. That's your buddies. They need to get in. They need to buy some Bitcoin and put it on a cold wallet as soon as possible, because likely they're going to have to sell their home to buy Bitcoin in the future. Not financial advice. Or I guess that'd be friend advice. I'm not advising you on how to interact with your friends. We only got a minute left, guys. We gotta run through the rest of this news. I have indulged myself in a lot of different tangents, so I apologize. Caitlin Long has said, the HODL gang has mostly held. I spent time in New York City over the past couple of days, and it's clearly why the Bitcoin price spiked this week. There was almost no Bitcoin available for sale on the big OTC desks. She expands, only about 40 Bitcoin available for sale on any price at one point on Wednesday. I was told by a credible source. This is insane. I've also heard rumors that there's very limited Bitcoin on Coinbase for sale. This is the definition of a supply shock. That's what this is. When there's no supply on the OTC markets, there's little supply on Coinbase, right? Demand is exceeding supply. If you've ever walked past an economics course taking place, and you should know that. If you've just been on the other side of the wall by osmosis, you would have learned from that economic course that when demand exceeds supply, price goes up, right? And I think it's quantity demanded exceeds supply, to put a bow on it. Last story here, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF to start trading in Brazil tomorrow. That's obviously just bullish. But bros, thank you so much for tuning in to the Investing Bros 9 a.m. stream. I like to think that I am just a friendly, fun friend that is in the crypto world super in depth and every single morning. I get to spend it with you, whether you're on your commute, whether you're working out, whether you're kicking back in, later in the day, watching this later on. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will be continuing to do this live stream to bring you guys the up-to-date news at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Got Caleb Franzen at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Man, that's going to be a fun show. We're gonna zoom out, talk a little bit more macro, more than likely, maybe even dabble and go much deeper into the Bitcoin mining stocks. So I hope to see you there. And if you're trading, keep your stop losses tight and stay hydrated. Peace.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.